I hate to lose at anything, so I'm always pushing and driving to try to win at everything.
Finally, ESM, we're here. We've got great cars that we love. And you're just at that point anxious to get things going, fire the engines, get the green flag dropped, and let's get going.
Le Mans, a race like no other. The largest single sporting event in the world. Since 1923, the 24 Hours of Le Mans has been the global melting pot of motorsport. 263,000 spectators and 56 of the best sports cars from all over the world converge at Circuit de la Sarthe. The path to Le Mans for Tequila Patrón ESM has been a treacherous one. Plagued by mechanical problems since the beginning of the season, the team must compete at Le Mans with two new Ligier J2 LMP2 chassis that have seen only minimal hours of testing.
You know, it's been a tough year for the guys. I feel really bad. You want to build consistency. You know, you want to, hopefully you're carrying a car you've run the whole previous year and you're just building off of past setup sheets. Or if nothing else, it's a car you got at the beginning of the off season and you had a chance to test all winter long, do some early races, you know, really learn the car and feel like the team and the engineering staff and the drivers are at one with it. Well, that's the opposite for us, unfortunately. I mean, we just unfortunately had to park the HBD chassis back at the beginning of March, and then ran our old cars, then switched back again to when we finally got the brand new Ligers at the beginning of May. So it's no other teams had to go through 3 chassis in such a short amount of time.
With less than a week to go before the race, fans get the first look at the Tequila Patrón ESM team from America during scrutineering, which traditionally takes place in the city centre. National advertising laws in France prohibit the team from displaying the tequila sponsor logos, so the cars are dressed in Rolling Stone livery for the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
I've waited a long time to come here, and almost came here a couple of years ago on the Ferraris, and that didn't work out. So really glad to be here. Such a historic place. This is the Super Bowl, granddaddies of of racing.
All right, in lap. Don't forget your belts, hose, pit lane. Don't forget the flash for pumps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Tension begins to mount as the crew make last-minute preparations in the garage. There'll be 2 practices with limited seat time for the drivers before the qualifying sessions.
I think we've got a really good race car. Hoping for reliability, good pit stops from our crew like we always get. And we definitely as a team, we need a little bit of luck of the Irish here. We need to turn our year around, and I hope Le Mans is the place to do it.
Qualifying results in an 11th and 17th position start for the team.
We're in decent shape. We were working a bit on the setup, trying to find a good, comfortable arrangement that could take us through 24 hours. We definitely did not have the peak pace. I've learned over the 3 previous years I've been here that it's actually quite rare that it's peak pace alone that wins this race. What's far more important is that you stay out there and keep rolling. Fuel and tires is the secret ingredient, or not so secret in fact, to winning this race.
It's hard because it's been such a transitionary year for us. I mean, no other teams had to deal with, since February, 3 different chassis. And so we still come into grips with the new Ligier car, which we're thrilled we have, but it's so new to us. yet you're going to the biggest race in the world.
Friday at Le Mans, the city is alive with the spirit of motorsport. The Drivers' Parade in the city centre is a decades-old tradition and serves as the final celebration leading up to the main event. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is less than a day away.
Gentlemen, we are entering the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We've all learned a lot this week being here. We've all made some mistakes and some errors. The way to win this race is to keep it clean. Clean cars win races, and no penalties win races. If we can do that, we'll be on the podium.
It's harder for me to lose.
And you got to go 80.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I hate to lose, so sorry. I'm not a bad sport about it, I just don't like to lose.
Race day at Le Mans. At 3 o'clock, the 56 cars will begin a fierce battle at the Circuit de la Sarthe.
What makes Le Mans unique is, unlike most circuits that we race on, it's not used full time. It's used a couple times a year at most. It's comprised of permanent circuit and actual highways that link towns. It's 8.5 miles around, so it's very long for a racing track. Not the longest in the world, but longer than anything we have in the United States. And going from the permanent track to the open roads is, you're driving by people's houses and bars and forests. It's just it's an unbelievable experience.
This is awesome. I mean, there's 300,000 people here. All morning we've just been feeling the atmosphere raise, feeling the ambiance. These are passionate fans. They love this stuff. They're waving their flags. They're wearing their gear. The whole team's so proud to be carrying the American flag. There's a few other American entries here, but we're the only 2-car full WEC entrant. So we're going to country after country carrying that flag.
We're away for 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Green flag for the 83rd running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. In the number 30 car, Ryan DL began what was intended to be a triple stint. Frustration for the drivers of the 30 car comes quickly due to miscalculations with the tyre setup.
The rears were 2.3, slightly higher, but the fronts were 2.3. The rears were 2.10.
Yeah, we're just done with first stint of the race, first double stint for me. Scott's in the car now, running 10. We made up a little bit of time at the start, but yeah, we made a little bit of a miscalculation on tires and didn't have the pace that we've had in practice. Even final practice this morning, we were 5th quickest, so yeah, we lost a little bit, but I think we made a good correction here for Scott. And it's a long race. We're obviously still on the hunt at this point, and we'll just keep doing what we need to do and stay reliable and get this thing in the end.
The leaders at this point are checking out on us a bit. They've opened up. The first 2 to 3 cars had some pretty serious pace right out of the gate. So, but once again, it's a 24-hour race, long way to go. I get in the car, get going pretty well, I felt. Rolling along, things are good. Had a pretty positive first stint. Caught Tracy Crone and caught him hugely in the first couple of corners, got on the back straightaway, drafted by him, moved over, go down in the first chicane, and I'm not sure if he lost track of where his brake points were or what, but he sort of locked it all up and hit me. So spun me out into the sand. He got stuck in the sand. Fortunately, I was able to restart the car and get out of there and keep going, but it cost time. And unlike US racing, where you might get behind, you might have an incident like that, and then half an hour later, there's a yellow that bunches the whole field up, and your deficit of maybe 45 seconds just got shrunk because you see the guy right in front of you under yellow. That doesn't happen really at Le Mans. That's more purist racing. They don't like full course cautions. There were a couple early, but even then they split the field into 3s. The track's so long that you can't, it's not like it's one big gathering. So if a guy is in one of the first, the leader you're racing with is in the first safety car zone and you're in the second, that gap never changes.
In the number 31 car, John Fogarty turns the first race laps of his career at Le Mans. while Ed Brown prepares himself mentally for the challenge ahead. He's next to go out, and this too will be his first competitive outing at the circuit.
I think in that first stint I was just thinking before I got in the car, you know, it's a long, long day. You know, let's keep it clean, and unfortunately that wasn't the case in my first stint. Yeah, it was rough. You know, we went out on the wrong tires, so the car was just a handful. And, you know, it was a handful from the first turn I took out on the track. And I don't make mistakes usually, and, you know, just uncharacteristic of, you know, but the car just didn't want to do what I thought it could do, and it spun a couple times, and then coming in, you know, I hit the wall down at the end of Indianapolis, and I took off the back end, but it was no harm, no foul there.
It's literally plug and play.
That was a rough stint, and so then I had to get out of the car and really then go back and really think about what the heck I was doing, and then get the trust back that the car was going to be better the next time I got in. And man, the car was awesome. The rest of the car was great the rest of the race.
While the 31 car of Ed Brown, Johannes van Overbeek and John Fogarty experienced only minor issues leading up to the halfway point in the race, the 30 car of Scott Sharp, Ryan Dalziel and David Ennemeyer Hansen was not as fortunate. With 16 hours to go in the race, an oil leak resulted in the car returning to the garage for further investigation. G-forces and extreme heat on the car's oil tank caused a break in the weld. Losing 4 to 5 quarts of oil per stint, the risk of a fire was alarmingly high.
We've been having a problem with the oil tank, required 2 lengthy stops to fix. We are 21 laps down.
The weld on the oil tank is cracked, and the only way to properly fix that is to take the engine off and really put a new oil tank on, or take that oil tank off and re-weld it, and that's not going to happen. That's a 2 or 3 hour job. So we're trying to patch it, but unfortunately, after a bit of running, the patch breaks. So eventually we come in, they take the cowling off, they pull back in the garage, they can start to ascertain exactly where the oil's coming from. It's leaking out of the tank. So they tried to put a quick sort of Band-Aid patch on it. Got it all sealed up, fired it up, didn't leak, sent it. Well, about 2 hours later, it starts leaking again. And now we're really monitoring on the telemetry instantly, live, where the oil level is. And we're seeing it just sort of creeping down, creeping down, creeping down. So if it ever got quick, then you'd know it was starting to get ready to gush out, and potentially the whole car could have gone up in flames. So we really had to be on top of this. So after 2 hours, we decide it's losing again, it's leaking. So we came in, this is really going to be our last time. We had to do we had to let the thing cool for a second, and then do a serious epoxy, larger patch, give it more time to really solidify and harden. And then the team went through the same procedures of really getting it hot again, fire the car up, run it through, make sure it's not leaking, and then eventually we send it out. And we left the garage area saying, okay, if this leaks again, then that's probably it. We're going to park the car.
As the clock ticks away through the night at Le Mans, the number 30 Tequila Patrón ESM car manages to stay in the race. However, a podium finish is now out of reach. The time spent in the garage has resulted in an over 30 lap deficit. The goal now is to merely survive.
Unfortunate, disheartening, but you know, there's a reason Le Mans is called the hardest 24-hour race in the world.
Pre-dawn hours at Le Mans. John Fogarty in the 31 car entering Porsche curves hits the left-hand inside curb, sending the car careering out of control and into the wall.
He's got a puncture on the rear. Before it looked like. Car's sparking all over the place. He's into the wall.
He manages to get the car back on track, but there's significant damage. The car's lights are off, creating a tense situation in the dark as LMP cars go rocketing by.
He's fighting to get that back, and it's kind of dangerous because he's got no lights.
But he is into the pit lane there. So he is coming in, he'll be going past us.
My crew chief Matt had said, he goes, when I saw the car coming in, he goes, I thought the race was over. But the car was strong. You know, we had to put a new front end on and a new rear, but no suspension damage. And that was awesome because we're used to, you know, hits like that we'd probably end the race. But but after that, you know, the car had a few missing aero bits, but it ran like a champ the rest of the race.
Daybreak at Le Mans. Both cars still in the fight to finish the race. With a number of LMP2 competitors experiencing their own problems, number 30 car pushes back into the top 10. Scott Sharp at Terte Rouge goes off track for a brief moment, but is able to continue.
From then on, actually, the car ran really well. We seemed to get more pace as the race went along, into the early morning hours, into the mid-morning hours, into the late morning hours. The car was pretty quick. We're turning our fastest laps, as the track is for everybody. It's rubbering up. We seem to be very competitive. We're just many laps down, but we're inching our way forward. We're running without problems. Other guys are blowing engines, they're blowing gearboxes, they're dropping out, and we keep moving up. And eventually break into the top 10 right before the end of the race. And in a lot of ways, that's a big feat. I mean, to have all the issues we had and to still be able to persevere. Car ran strong, ran fast laps the whole, I'd say, second half of the race, and to still finish in the top 10. The team needs to leave there with their heads high.
Hey, getting both cars to the finish, hopefully.
Pretty up and down day, but yes.
Closing hours of the race, Johannes van Overbeek is ready to bring the number 31 car to the finish.
I wanted him to finish, and you know, it was bittersweet. You know, listen, I understand the huge task that it takes to finish a 24-hour race, especially there, especially being our first time. So I was thrilled that the team, both cars, finished, but there was also some disappointment, you know, because you think back and, you know, if this would have happened or that would have happened, could that have, you know, got us up into a podium position. Nobody remembers even second place. So yeah, but like I said, we're very proud of the team. They worked hard, and you know, and they kept those cars going. So it was a great outcome. But you know, you always want more.
A bittersweet ending for Tequila Patrón ESM. The 83rd annual running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans has come to an end. The number 30 car of Scott Sharp, Ryan DL and David Hennemeyer Hansen finishes 10th, whilst the number 31 car of Ed Brown, Johannes van Overbeek and John Fogarty finishes 7th. While the dreams of the team to stand on the podium were crushed in the early stages, the mere fact that both cars completed the endurance race in the top 10 was an accomplishment to indeed consider Patrón worthy.